PPW legends Jerry Lynn and Mikey Whipwreck. Now, let's welcome your host, Mike Freland.
Welcome to another episode of Front Material. For that is now. My name is Mike Freland. Hope you are having a good Tuesday evening. I am joined as always by the Ritt, my follically challenged friend. You know what? I'm not gonna rib you tonight. I'm not gonna give you a hard time. It's been a long day. Completely understand that. But with that being said, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Man, first off, it's a little weird. I'm looking one way, but I want to look the other way. So we're gonna try this out. See how things work out.
Yeah, it sounds like a Robert Gibson issue, but you know what? Hey, we'll let that one go. It is a big night for us. We have PPW's very own Paul and Tony. They run the operations. They make sure the show goes off without a hitch. They're going to be talking to us about their promotion and about the history of PPW. We are very excited about that. We also have an announcement we'll be making as well during the course of that interview. And then coming up in Front Row Material, big Ring of Honor interview. So we'll be teasing that a little bit more before we get to it. So big night tonight. Anything else on your mind before we get started, buddy?
Yeah, we can't do this. I'm switching over.
Yeah, you can't do it? Can't function?
No, this is completely weird.
Oh, now he's just completely gone. Now he's gone, kids. Oh, my God. This is like working with Jerry Lynn. He doesn't know what's going on. Speaking of Jerry Lynn, I talked to Jerry. He's doing well. Cuomo let him out of the retirement village to go ahead and hang out with some of his friends, which is nice. So, are you ready now?
Apparently, no.
Wow. Either you are going to be putting Jeff Dunham out of business with your ventriloquism or your screen's froze. Either way, hey, the show must go on. We're going to go ahead and bring them on right now. They are the owners and they operate PPW Wrestling. Let's go bring them on. It's going to be Paul and Tony. Gentlemen, you know what? I don't know what to say about my buddy, my partner, but you know what? Like they say, show goes on, right?
Hey, that's how it has to be. I see Tony got his headphones tonight. I'm without headphones, sitting in the back of my Escalade here at the skate park, watching my kid skate. But hey, we got to do what we got to do.
I tell you what, your camera is sharp. Is that an iPhone?
It is an iPhone.
Oh my!
Yeah, that is pretty.
That is gorgeous.
Space for radio, baby. Looks good.
No, you look fresh, my friend. And Tony, like the kids would say, that beard is looking fleek, my friend.
Yeah, it's nice. It looks good on this camera.
It does look good, man. So he's back. There he is. Oh, rub the lotion on the skin. There he is.
Oh, there we go.
My God. So let's kind of get into this right now. We were talking to people about PPW, which is a great promotion, and we've gotten a chance to start to build a relationship with you guys. Who would like to kind of jump into the origins of PPW and how that whole thing, just the maturation of how the company got started?
Yeah, Tony can start it off, and I'll kind of.
Of course he would do that. Of course Paul would do that. So about, I want to say about 7, what are we at now, Paul? 8 years?
This will be 8 years in August, yeah?
Yeah, so about 8 years ago, probably a little over 8 years now, I was approached by a family friend. So I had wrestled, I had trained under ECPW and wrestled in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. And then in Pennsylvania, a bunch of like family friends would come see me wrestle. And about a little over 8 years ago, I was approached by one of those family friends just asking me if I would consider running a wrestling show for their child's school, the Helping Hand Society in Hazleton. And at that point, I hadn't done anything with wrestling probably for, I want to say like 3 years at that point. I started thinking about it, and what ended up happening was I approached a friend at the time and said, hey, I'm interested in possibly doing something like this. And they were having a falling out at a certain company they were at. So I just said, hey, do you want to be a part of doing this? They got excited. Next thing you know, we started planning the show. We thought it was just going to be a one-off deal. All right, we're going to run this show. make some money for them, and that'll be that. And so as we start planning it, we start talking, and this other partner at the time was like, "Hey, I got this really great guy who would want to be a part of this. He's got a great voice, not a great face, but a great voice." So he reached out. He got Paul on board. Next thing you know, we became like this team of 3 of us, and we ran our first show. So the night before our first show, like, we're nervous. It's our first show. We're like, oh, we know nothing about it. All I know is about, I'd been a worker for a few years, and all I knew at that point is like, hey, I want to get my boys on. I want to get all my boys on. And so like we're contacting the people we all knew. We're putting together a show, and we're like, oh, let's bring Justin Credible. We get Sanjay Dutt. Like, we're like, this is gonna be great. Let's see what happens. The night before the show, I'm in the movie theater with my kid, and I get a call from Paul, and he's like, oh no, we got a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? He's like, I'm down at the building with the fire marshal, and they just told us we can't run in this building.
Oh my God!
And
the
we're
night
like,
before?
What? Yeah, literally at what, 8:30 at night, right, Paul? It was like 9 o'clock at night.
It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. That was in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was 4 or 5 o'clock.
Because we got the news down there to give us a promo to move the show.
Yeah, so the news came though to talk, because the building we were running at, that we were originally going to run at, also had a grocery store attached to it, like on the other side of the building.
Wow.
So they were like, they had to shut the grocery store down, and this was a pretty that grocery store was used in that area. It was at pretty regularly. So when they shut it down, the news was there. Paul went right to it. Him and the other partner were like, "Hey, we're moving the show up to this other smaller skate arena, or whatever you want to call it. The place probably should only fit like 200 people in it. If that. It was like a little half of a basketball court that they turned into like for roller skating for kids indoors. And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna run the show there. It'll be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock." Well, the joke was on whoever contacted the fire marshal and that to go to this building. For 8 years now, we've always said that somebody contacted them the night before the show and tried to turn it into a big ordeal. The joke was on them, because the very next night we had 354 people inside this small skate place. I wish I had the picture I could show you.
Well, we're all beyond the statute of limitations now, so that doesn't matter that we violated it. So we're good.
Yeah. So
plus it was a charity show, and you tried to shut us down. Shame on you, guys.
Yeah, it was jam packed. Like, I mean, you couldn't move. People were standing, and it was hot the whole night. Like, we, at that point we were renting everything. We rented the ring, we rented a license, we rented everything you possibly rent. We rented, like, and so at the end of the night, we're finishing up paying everything. We're handing the Helping Hands Society their piece of what they were making, and we turned around, and it was just like, hey, let's try one more show and see what happens, right? Like, let's see if we could do this again. So we do one more show. We have 300 and some people inside that building, and we're like, this something's wrong here. There's no way. Wrestling in this area has been going on, and for a long time, and max people we're having was like 100 people in a building, maybe 150. So like, there's something here. Let's see what happens. We're on our third show. Now we're at 300 and some people again, and now we've moved from one building to another building to another building at this point, like within like, maybe 15, 20 minutes of each other, all within Hazleton, Freeland, and McAdoo. So like, we're in this little triangle, and we're saying, wow, like, there's something going on here. So then, we just kept taking chances. Next thing you know, we're booking AJ Styles to come in, and we're selling out the place we're in with AJ Styles. And from that point, we were just like, you know what, this is something. And then, here we are 8 years later, pandemic shut us down. We were shut down for a while. We came back as strong as you could possibly ask. We moved to a brand new area. We were nervous. We ran in Hazleton for 8 years, like right in that little vicinity. We moved about an hour away from Hazleton, pretty close to an hour. We didn't know what was going to happen. First show, we were real skeptical, because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And next thing you know, there's over 400 people in the building, and we're like, wow, okay. Second show, same exact thing. And the crazier part was, we were getting new fans, and the reason we knew that was the online sales just started going up and up and up, and we weren't used to that. And you could see where they were coming from. So next thing you know, we're seeing people from Poconos, we're seeing from all these different areas, New York, New Jersey. So it started to take off, and you have to recognize, like, prior to pandemic, we had done 3 pay-per-views with Impact. So like we had thought, oh man, like, we were good then, but now we're doing everything we need to do. I think the team's working really hard. We got a lot of moving parts, a lot of people behind the scenes that are really involved, and it just, PPW just became, a mainstay. Like in my mind, when I see all the other PPWs that are out there, because there's a lot of them, power this, pure this, like, I always look at it like, hey, there's only one, it's us. Sorry guys. Like, but that's the competitor in me. But we do really well. We like to promote other shows. We like to talk about other companies and things like that, and try to put them over. We've done really great. Like, I couldn't be happier. And the people that have come and gone, PPW just it's grown. We've grown, and it's just been a great thing.
It's funny you mentioned, you started out doing one show in kind of a charity benefit type of deal, and then something snowballs into something else, and then something snowballs into something else. And it's a lot like Warrior Wrestling. When we were talking with them, the guy who runs Warrior Wrestling is a high school principal, and he basically got the abilities to go ahead and do it on the football field. And it was supposed to be for like a charity type of deal. And then it got attention, and just kind of like this, just kind of kept going on and on. Paul, let me ask you this. Were you ever hesitant about, after the first bump in the road, like, oh gosh, maybe I should rethink this whole thing?
Well, we missed a couple key spots in the first show, so we're gonna throw it in reverse for a minute. Tony failed to tell you that the first show, not only did we get tossed out of the building the day before, the man who we rented the ring on canceled us.
Oh my God.
I forgot that.
He had no ring the day of the show. So let me tell you this story real quick. So
Tony gives us the real happy version of it, and then everything worked out.
It did work out, but let me tell you something. Myself and Ryan, who was one of our original partners, he called me. I was actually in McDonald's for some reason. I don't know why I was there, because I don't even like their food, but I was in McDonald's. Not that they're a sponsor here, so we're all right. He says, hey, we got a big problem here. We don't have a ring. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, we can either go up to Pittston to get a ring off somebody, or we can go down to Shenandoah Heights and get a ring off somebody. I'm like, well, Shenandoah is obviously close. Where is this ring? Because the guy canceled on us literally the day before. We had no ring.
Did he say anything? I mean, was it an email? Was it a phone call? Was it a, hey,
Not coming. I think that's what he said.
I can't even remember who it was that we were getting the ring from.
I know who it was. I won't say his name, though, but I know exactly who it was.
Wow. Did they at least apologize or try to make good? Or
Oh, no, we had huge heat with him afterwards for things. We'll get into it. Yeah, he can't, just no reason, charity show, so I'm not coming with my ring. Okay. Then he tried to sell it to us. Remember he tried to sell it to us a couple years later?
I'm trying to remember who it was.
Double M.
Oh,
yes.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. But anyway, so Ryan and I get in the U-Haul truck, and Ryan can't even drive a car, yet alone a U-Haul truck. But he's driving going down to Shenandoah. I have no idea where I'm going. Shenandoah is like maybe 20 minutes south to Hazleton. So we're going there, and we pull in this guy's yard, and he goes to the door, and I don't know Cappy, who has the ring, John Caparuso.
Yeah.
Door, and he slams the door in Ryan's face. He said, wrong house. I thought we were at the wrong house. Here he is. I'm like, where are we going? So we go in the backyard. It's, hey, shout out, Julius Kuiper in the house. Look at this.
whoa.
One of our commentators.
Wrestling, baby.
You might have to put the X on that, like when Blackjack Mulligan used to put the claw. 'Cause he had Anyway, so we get to his house, and it's mud everywhere. So we have to go over chicken wire. The ring is outside covered with tarps. This thing hasn't seen the light of day in probably 10 years. And I'm like, where's the ropes? And then Cappy's breaking my horns. He's going, oh, there's no ropes. You need ropes? And I'm like, I just met you. You're busting my balls. It's 4 hours before showtime, and we don't have a ring. So we literally threw it in the truck. We're all full of mud. We drove the truck back up to the Strand to the roller skating thing. I went home and took a shower. I mean, like, basically threw water on myself, came back in a friggin' full suit, and they were putting a ring up. And that was like an hour before the show. People were on their way, and we had no ring. So that was the nightmare of that. So if I stuck through that, it's going to take a hell of a lot for me to say, I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
that's true. We've been through a lot. Yeah. But I don't know. I always look at it like where we are now. Been through a lot of different people who came in, were owners. We've all learned from those people and grown from it. I guess it's just the way I am.
Yeah. I mean,
Paul remembers all the bad things.
Yeah.
This is a perfect relationship. It's like Tony gives you the lifetime. Paul's like, hold on, I'm going to give you the uncut version of it.
I do football and basketball for a TV station out in the Williamsport area during sports, and for football season and basketball season. And they always say to me, like when something goes wrong in production, like we'll be in a production meeting, something will happen or something will break, the camera will break. And they're like, you don't even get upset. I'm like, you realize I've done pro wrestling for 8 years? Do you know how much goes wrong there? I'm like, do you know how many times someone forgot to press record or they, missed a big spot? I'm like, this doesn't bother me. You guys are professional. You'll figure it out. You don't know what we do on a monthly basis.
Wow.
If nobody's catching what Ritt's doing.
I know. Sometimes I don't hit the record button. I know. I screw up sometimes too.
Believe it. We've had that happen multiple times where half a show we find out that the hard cam isn't running, and the person that's supposed to be in charge of that's like, oh, I forgot to.
Well, we were doing live editing, so he forgot to press record. They blamed it on him, so he gets blamed for everything. Poor Freddie.
Freddie Akers. He's
Freddie.
The man.
So you guys decide to hang in there after that first show. Things really start picking up and going really, really well. When do you finally start to get maybe a home location? How does that all kind of start to fall into play?
Well, that
guy.
Yeah, the school that my wife works at, they called me to one day, and the principal, there was a different principal there, and she said, hey, they're looking for a fundraiser for the school. What do you guys think about running your wrestling here? This was supposed to be a one-off. And I said, they said, meet with the PTA. We'll put together a plan. So Tony and I met with them, and Ryan came with us. We all met with them, and we put a thing together with sponsors. And, I mean, they raised the first show. We had a huge show there. I mean, there was probably close to 1,000 people there.
Holy cow.
Packed. I mean, the place seats like 2,700. WWF back in the day used to run there. And it's
ECW.
It's just a mecca there. And so that was put together, and we ran a show there, and it was tremendously successful. So I said to the vice principal, I'm like, hey, we'd love to stay here. Would you be able to rent it out to us every month? I said, and he's like, yeah, I would rent it out to you guys. And, the school did their concessions, and, it made money, help money for the school to help supplement the cafeteria and stuff like that. So that was how the relationship started there, where it was just a permanent relationship ever since then. We've been there, and, now with the COVID, and they're a little hesitant letting anybody in, and I totally get it, so all activities are shut down. So that's how we did go find the other place that we moved to now up in the Poconos. But, I mean, we got 2 great locations.
Wow.
We ran that first show. I think the names we had on that were the Samoan Dynasty, Snitsky, and Matt Morgan at that show. And then Matt Morgan wanted to fight me. Remember in the back?
Yep. Matt Morgan got mad. He got mad at me because there was a veteran that was in a wheelchair, and I just tapped him on the back and said, hey, there's a veteran down there. Can you please go down and meet him? He can't obviously get in the ring. He's in a wheelchair. And he flipped. He's like, I love this country. I would never tell a veteran no. I'm like, I just told you he's down here. He flipped out. Yeah, he was mad.
He was angry because his agent. So again, this is early stages for us. So we knew nothing about meet and greets. We'd bring in a talent, and we'd just be like, yeah, they're keeping their meet and greet. They're doing this stuff, and we're just like, whatever happens, happens. We bring him in. His agent never told him, hey, you're going to stay till the end of the show. And he comes in.